Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we take an agnostic look at all things streaming. If it gets content to your eyes, we want to talk about it. So, I'm Clyde. Today I'm joined by Jimmy Trammell.
Hello, everyone.
Michael Aston.
Hello.
And Matthew Ross.
Hey there.
How you guys doing this week?
Not too bad.
Been very busy.
Yeah?
Crazy week, yeah.
Well,
That it has been.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad, we made it back. This is episode 2, Hopefully we can make it to 3.
Yeah, well, that'd be good.
Yep.
I think after 3 we're done though, right?
Well,
It's all, wasn't any more than
it's a
that?
nice round number, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean we go into syndication then?
I think so.
Something like that.
It's
And
got
then
to
we
end
get
on
royalties,
Prime,
right?
so the first Prime available.
Then royalties, right?
Oh,
Step 2.
Yeah, so if for those of you, if you're just tuning in today, you weren't around last week. Last week was our first episode.
Oh.
We talked a bit about the Roku platform.
Hi.
Kind of gave our thoughts. Then, this week, what are we talking about? The Fire TV?
Yes, but Clyde, just so you know, it's not last week. It was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you
It's okay.
last time. So yeah, I'll make sure to get that right.
Oh,
No,
my God.
last time. But no, we're back. Just a quick shout out for those of you that may be just tuning in. We do have our own chat room now, so if you want to hop on over to the VOD Squad, join the conversation. And I think, why don't we move on to our feed?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Jimmy, I think you're up.
Yeah, so there was a article put out by PR News. Our PR News Wire is the name of the outfit that did this article. And they were writing about a J.D. Powers survey that was done, and they were surveying a lot of the streaming services, for cord cutters and all. And what I found interesting about the survey is that they had a pretty good mix of people who use streaming services, and the things that stood out to me was that 60% of those surveyed were cord stackers. These are people who still subscribe to cable TV, but also subscribe to cable cord cutting services, streaming services. And then 23% was cord shavers, those that had reduced the cable TV subscription. There was 13% that were cord cutters, and then 4% that were cord nevers. And in the survey, a few things they highlighted in there. The satisfaction overall for the streaming services was lowest among cord cutters, which I found that to be quite interesting. Binge watching was rated high by 62% of those surveyed. Television remaining the primary viewing device also was there at about 65% of those surveyed, right? Original content viewers higher among streaming-only subscribers. So the TV subscribers didn't really care so much about the original content. And the number one streaming service was Netflix.
Well, that's really...
But closely followed, number 2 was Hulu, was a close second.
Yeah. This to me is completely logical and uninsightful. I mean, it's good to see something like this quantified, but the majority of the people that I know that most people utilize services like Netflix or Amazon Prime, but they almost all also have some sort of cable. So at least in my age group and my associates, they're mostly people that are maybe cord shavers or what did you call it when they had both?
Cord stackers.
Yeah, cord stackers. And, you know, especially people that are into sports and stuff like that, where they have a really hard time getting that content in other ways. Of course, having a cable TV service is going to be really beneficial for them. And there's also the whole group of people that have like kids and stuff, where being able to put on one of those kids channels and let the kids just go.
Oh, and I've mentioned before, but my kids have no comprehension of like live TV and channels. You know, if they can't watch, you know, what it is that they want at that particular moment in time, they're not interested.
The most interesting thing about this story is the fact that the lowest satisfaction rate is the people who are completely cut the cord. And actually, it makes sense to me because they lost their access to what's normally on TV, and so they are missing what that is, and so they're going to have the lowest ratings for it. And so they're depending on what they've got, so they rate them harshly. But this is also just a standard thing. This is going to be the standard motion as things move along. People will still have cable for a long time, but it's going to slowly move over to more of a cord cutter situation over time. I think this is going to be a long but standard thing. We're going to have the new technology will take over the old. People still listen to the radio.
I kind of wonder if individuals won't start to think of like getting rid of cable. I guess really, to me, I think that the question is whether the people that are dissatisfied with cord cutting are dissatisfied because of the price, right? I know that a common perception is, oh, well, I can cut the cord and I can save a ton of money. But if you are trying to accomplish something close to what you had with cable TV, you often will end up getting 2 or even 3 streaming services. You still have to pay for your internet bill, maybe even a higher speed internet bill to make up for the fact that now you're trying to do 4K content or all of your streaming content for multiple individuals online. So you maybe bump up your cable internet bill, and you are also going to lose your bundle discount, because almost everybody is doing a bundle discount with the internet and the cable TV. And so people, I think, maybe are saving a lot less money than they expected to, and I wonder if that has any kind of impact on their satisfaction. It's like, oh, I'm being inconvenienced and I'm not really saving that much money.
I think that's a good assumption, and I would parlay onto that too, that maybe the cord cutter dissatisfaction with the streaming services are rating it the lowest. It wasn't that they were dissatisfied with it; it was just rated lower among the cord cutters. Could be to kind of what you were talking about, Mike, is the resolution, the quality of the video that they're streaming. Because coming over a cable TV, 1080p may look a little bit clearer than what it does if it's streaming. It could go in and out the resolution, and that potentially could play into it as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Skills Cat in the chat makes a valid point, saying that you need to take more active role in cutting or curtailing your content. And and I agree. I mean, because everybody says, hey, well, you can get rid of the cable and, well, just get something like Sling or, PlayStation View. But the problem is now you're back to paying the same price and not necessarily going to have all the content you had. Yes, you may have it more on your schedule, more time shifting or, watch stuff as you want, but there's no guarantee it's going to be available or for how long. It's nothing worse than working your way through a series and then you come back to find out, oh, sorry, 2 episodes left, but they're not up anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
But Alrighty. Should we move on to the next, or?
Yeah.
All right. So then, I can't bring that up. So I think the next one was
It's Michael.
Yeah. So this looked interesting to me. There's a app, and it's not necessarily new, for Apple TV called Rio, and it's gotten a big round of funding. And it's really interesting to me because of the content that it looks like it's going to be bringing to Apple TV, making Apple TV a little bit of a Pandora type thing for video, and a little bit of an actual kind of normal channel where there's going to be something showing all the time. It's not just like a set stream of shows, but it will be kind of curated videos that are pre-selected for your interests, kind of like a Pandora would be. And the idea is that you'll be able to skip videos and watch videos. And if you skip it, then it's going to show disinterest. If you watch it all the way through, you get to the end of the video, that indicates that you liked it, and then it'll get more accurate for you. And so, it just makes an interesting thing, and it's specific to the Apple TV. So another reason maybe to pick up an Apple TV to get good curated content that's going to kind of focus on your interests, and maybe even, and they even talk about the ability to see what you are interested in at a given time of day. So it'll pay attention to like what time you watch things. So.
Now, this is either going to work really well, or this is just going to be a flash in the pan. I don't know. It's going to 50-50 there. So, and since it's only on Apple TV at the moment, we'll see. I don't think this has got. I would actually be betting against this one if I were a betting man.
I would say it depends on the price point, what they're going to charge. This it sounds like a good service. It sounds like what it would be true smart TV, right? But I think it's going to be all about price. Because if they really charge a lot of money for this, then I agree with Matt. It'll probably fall on its face. But if they stay in there like around that $15 or so per month or less per month fee for a few channels or a few shows or whatever, then I think it stands a chance.
Jimmy, I think you just got it. I think you figured it out. They're actually making a product they want to be acquired by somebody else and make a big payday. That's got to be their goal. That makes sense. It's what everybody wants to do. Is a super smart TV. It's what it is. I don't know if they're going to make it very far, but even if they make it just a little bit, then Apple will come in and say, "Sure, we'll buy you. No problem. Yeah, you're cheap. No problem. Nothing."
I wonder, I kind of agree with what both of you guys are saying as far as whether or not it succeeds will be largely determined on how good it works. For me, Pandora, I liked early on, but the more I used it, the more super specific it became. Like I would downvote songs that I didn't like and stuff, and after a while, I felt like all I heard was like almost the exact same song. Different songs, but they all had a really similar sound to it, which that may be kind of what I like, because obviously they did have a similar sound. They picked that up, but I definitely enjoy a variety of music, especially when I'm just listening to music for a long period of time. So if they end up something like that where there isn't a good way to get variety in there at the same time that they show content that you very specifically would definitely like, I think that'll be a weakness. But also, as far as monetization, that'll be a big deal. They're doing peak ads, so a pre-roll of ads for the videos that you watch, and if they kind of do it like YouTube does, that's probably not a big deal. If you're showing a 30-second or a 2-minute video and you've got a 15-second pre-roll, though, that becomes problematic. And that
what you're saying, Michael, is that if I will keep curating my videos on this new service, I'll end up just getting nothing but cat videos.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And all right. I guess, Matt, with that, you want to take it away?
Yeah, we have some new rumors of Roku coming out with some new boxes. According to the Cord Cutters News, we have a story about the fact that there's been some more information been pushed through about some new Roku boxes that may be coming out. We have some new models that are going to be replaced called the Roku Express and possibly the Roku Express 1, the Roku Premier, and possibly Roku Premier Plus, and the Roku Ultra. These models will have new features such as bringing down the 4K into the Premier level and having some of the nicer find your remote features into the Ultra model. Essentially, this means that our episode last week is already out of date. Not a week, not 2 weeks ago. It's already out of date.
Well, hey, man, but that's the nature of the beast, and you know, the more hardware they put out, that means the more episodes we can do.
Oh yeah.
You know. I honestly, I'm kind of excited. You know, I've had this Roku 4 for almost a year. Time for something new, maybe.
We're considering get ourselves a Roku stick, but for another one. But now I'm looking at these and going.
See, the stick is a good entry. It's kind of like that, you know, that first hit you get for free, and then you come back couple weeks later, say, hey, I want some more.
I got another TV with a big need.
Well, and actually, speaking of the Roku, right now, Sling has a deal that if you sign up for 3, that's right, 3 months of Sling, you will get a free Roku 2. Or there's the other option, you can get 50% off a Roku 3. Does anybody think this is a good deal?
You know, I mean, speaking of your free hit, right? I think it's a good deal for both, really. I mean, one of the problems with a service like Sling is that if you don't have a device that supports it, for example, if you're using a smart TV that doesn't support Sling, then that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a barrier for entry to you. And if Roku can get its older boxes in front of you, and you like it, I think you're probably pretty inclined to pick up a newer one that has support for more features and better quality, faster speeds, maybe 4K.
Yeah, and while I get that it's a good way to get people that aren't already on the platform onto the platform, but that's a double-edged sword, because if you give someone that hasn't used it, that doesn't already like your platform, you give them older hardware, that may turn them off, because if it's not performing the way that they want and the way that everybody tells them it should be, you know, now you got someone that says, oh, you know, why should I spend money on this new thing? The one I've got is kind of, you know, not that great.
Well, I don't know. You know, I'd say for guys like us, yes, we would exactly say that, right? I think all 4 of us would agree with you and say, yep, that's exactly the way I would look at it, right? But for your average consumer out there who's maybe not so tech savvy or just doesn't really care, right? Yeah, they might say, oh, yeah, okay. I've been thinking about getting a subscription to Hulu anyway, or Amazon or one of these services. So this is a good way for me to get a free box, right? And then even if they do kind of go along the path of, you know, upgrading to a better one, well, then, you know, most people usually have more than one TV in their household anyway, so they'll just pass this over to the secondary TV and then buy the better one for the primary TV.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is the Roku 2 deal, that's a bad idea. I mean, that equipment's pretty obsolete. It may be okay for right now, but not much longer. The Roku 3, get that for half price. That's not too bad. I mean, that ends up being $50.
That's what you're using, isn't it, Jimmy? You've got a Roku 3?
I have a Roku 3, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the Roku 3 is still technically, I mean, it's still fairly current. It's not as beefy as the 4, but it's capable. Yeah, that's what I was saying is that deal for the Roku 2, that could backfire. That could really backfire. The 3 should be fine.
See, it solves every single possibility. Possibility number 1, you have no streaming device.
Yeah.
It's stable, so. Possibility number 2, you have one streaming device and you have a second TV that doesn't have a streaming device.
Mm-hmm.
It solves that problem. Possibility number 3, you don't need them. You get the free one. You give it to a friend if you like them, or you give it to an enemy if it's a Roku 2. So here, have this. No, nothing wrong with Roku 2. I'm sure it's fine.
I can think of a couple people I'd send that Roku to.
Full of spiders, right?
Yeah. The old adage, right? In the world of the blind, the man with one eye is king.
All right. I guess moving on. I think that's back to you, Michael.
Yeah, I've got a few quick kind of headlines that I wanted to kind of throw out there. Amazon is going to launch their pilots on Twitch. So obviously Amazon and Twitch is a subsidiary of Amazon, so it's not a big stretch for them to be showing videos there. And Twitch has had some kind of syndicated content before, but this is a little bit different, where it's, they're showing something that could be maybe an ongoing show or a kind of a consistent regular theme of showing their premieres on Twitch and letting it stream live to customers and free and stuff. Just kind of wanted to mention it. It seems interesting. It's Amazon kind of flexing its muscle, and Twitch kind of stepping outside of the pure gaming arena that it kind of is founded on and is known for.
I don't know. Is Twitch really a good channel for people to watch movies on television shows? I mean, nobody thinks about that for Twitch just yet. I don't know if that's the right place for me. Why aren't they putting it on their own service and promoting that?
Well, it is.
Is there? Yeah, but Twitch is specifically never been. In fact, they've been actually trying hard to make sure it's all about games.
No,
why are they putting this other show?
I agree with you there. The whole Twitch thing is puzzling, because Twitch has always been adamant that in order to be on Twitch, it should be game or gaming related. Like, if we wanted to do this show on Twitch, we could, but we'd probably get some shade from them, if not completely pulled down. So, I mean, on that aspect is, it's a bit surprising. But I am glad that Amazon this year is embracing other platforms. Like they talked about on Cord Killers how these pilots are also going to be on YouTube and they're going to be elsewhere.
Right.
That's cool. So, I mean, yeah, Twitch, in that aspect, cast your net as wide as possible, because if the previews are only on Amazon Prime, a lot of people aren't going to see them.
If that's the case, if they're putting it everywhere, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
They own Twitch, put it on Twitch. That totally makes sense. But if it was, I didn't know it was that it was. I forgot that they had or said that they were going to put it on other things. So.
Now, on a slight side note, has anybody watched these pilots yet?
No.
You kidding me? I come home and I'm like, okay, what are we going to do before I go to bed? Well,
This morning, I watched The Tick, and I was expecting the worst.
Ooh.
It was really good,
Wow.
and all of us have heard probably Brian trying to figure out the whole Jean-Claude Van Johnson thing. I watched that one too. I didn't know what to expect, and it is funny.
Yeah.
It is actually really good because his being an actor is a cover for his covert spy stuff, which is Jean-Claude Van Johnson. But it check them out if you haven't already. Check out these new pilots. They are actually pretty good.
Okay.
I had the most hope for Tick, so I'm not surprised that it turned out to be good. I'm kind of surprised that Jean-Claude Van Johnson isn't awful.
Me too. Me too.
The next one I wanted to kind of mention was Facebook adding ads into their live broadcasts. So it's kind of in trial status now, but they'll be putting live ads starting as early as 15 minutes into, or maybe it was 5 minutes in to live broadcasts, and up to 15-second ads. So to me, this is Facebook taking something that they are perhaps good at, getting stuff in front of people and turning themselves into a standard channel.
Okay, I've got tons of questions. Question number one: how often are the ads? Obviously, every 15 minutes in, they put one ad, right? And then
5 minutes.
and then after that, every 15 minutes, another live ad.
It doesn't say. It says that they can appear anywhere after 5 minutes into a live stream and last up to a maximum of 15 seconds.
That's like such a horrible thing. I mean, dude, this is just, if you ask me, nobody will want to broadcast on that anymore because
Right.
do they know when the ad's going to happen? Do they have any idea? I mean, they're going to be in the middle of this really great conversation with, we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. Oh, no, this is not a thing to do.
The worst is when they cut to the ad in the middle of the conversation and they don't
Right.
even break like that. And then you come back, hopefully come back.
Yeah, how does the person making the live stream know that an ad happened? Do they get to know? I have so many questions.
Yeah,
I'm not-
I'm sure they've kind of thought about some of those things. I mean, but I totally agree that this is likely going to be a disaster.
That's going to either change so quick, they're going to change their minds on that so quick and return it to the no ads at all and go, everybody knows okay, and they'll just recover, or this is going to be I project this being a big problem for them. I don't see this happening one way or another.
Yep. Anyways, just kind of wanted to mention that one. It's, I don't know, kind of a possibly a vision of where current content is trying to be a little bit like old media, which is the opposite of the way things seem like they should be going. Next, I kind of wanted to mention a couple of VR related things. I'm kind of becoming the VR guy. It's kind of one of the things I really am excited about. You know, I don't know that I'd go so far as to say passionate about yet, but definitely excited about. Facebook has shown a commitment to video by providing a software functionality for 360 video stabilization. So this will let people carry and use 360 cameras and kind of provide a little bit smoother experience so that you can get VR ready videos out a little bit more readily and a little bit easier. So this is interesting to me. Making it easier and less expensive for people to produce quality videos just means more options and more opportunity for us people that are watching videos online, and being able to do it in 3D or in 360 videos so that I can get in there with a VR headset and kind of look around. That just makes it even cooler.
The VOD Squad in 3D.
Goodness.
That's horrifying.
No.
I on a
Trust
more
All of you watching.
no, I'm actually
Don't even
kind
ask.
of
It's not
pumped
good.
about this. This is cool. I mean, any way they can make it easier to get quality video out there is a good thing. Even if it's not something that we are, individually going to use, just the fact that they're still making, any any advancement in any area you don't know what kind of effects that'll have. And I'm super excited when I read that article.
Now, I did not read this article, so is this some type of post-processing that they're doing on this in order to take the video after you've done all your footage and being able to smooth out the edges a little bit? Or is it something that, like, their own special program that will do that live, or some, I doubt it's any kind of hardware solutions.
No, it's just, it's designed to kind of smooth it post-processing and kind of make it a little bit cleaner and easier video for people to use.
Awesome.
So,
Go Facebook and go Oculus. I'm making this awesome software.
Yeah.
Now, release the source so everybody can use it, please.
yep.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, I wanted to throw out a mention about virtual reality getting into esports, and really, again, kind of a new way to get into virtual reality, a new way to view your stuff. Always awesome. So this company is looking at creating virtual reality experiences in esports, where you would actually be able to go in to the gaming arena with your virtual reality headset and actually kind of move around and experience the esporting event or tournament inside the game in 360, as if you were there as maybe a spectator on the floor of the arena. I mean, sounds really cool.
This is totally cool, but what I can't help but think, what content are they shooting for right now? Because there's not a lot of good content, quality content that would meet. I mean, there's a lot of great VR content, but not the quality stuff that you would normally meet the, like, e-gaming or standards. So I'm curious, how soon are they looking at this?
I don't know that it gives a really hard timeline. It's just something where they've got some investments and investors are getting involved with it, but and heavily. 6.2 million. It's not billions, but it's a solid starting investment. I mean, they're talking about getting into competitions that are happening for, like, Counter-Strike and League of Legends, Dota 2, and stuff like that. So it's like being able to any big tournament for Counter-Strike, being able to sit there and watch your favorite players inside the game, kind of follow them around and experience what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this would be really cool in Overwatch. Yeah. Which you kind of already have. They have that 360 spectator kind of built in to the game to be able to actually jump in, as a spectator with the goggles and cruise around. That would be cool.
Yeah. There's a thorough discussion on DTNS. They had a guest come in and talk about it extensively, probably 15 minutes or so. So definitely worth checking out last Friday's DTNS. We'll throw it into the show notes for you if you want to check it out. But again, last Friday's DTNS at about 20 minutes into it. Really good discussion there, so might check that out too.
Yeah, I would say the Twitch crowd would definitely go for something like this, right? I think they would be the first ones to sign up for such a service.
Yeah, I know my kids watch a couple people that are streaming their VR content, and they're completely enthralled in watching someone else be immersed shopping, like, it was a convenience store. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's great. But working in the convenience store. But yeah, no, I mean, any advancement we can get, I think, is a move in the right direction. So,
All right.
Cool. Alrighty, should we move on to the next thing?
Yes, please.
I think so.
All right, so being that this is the end of the month, we figured this would be the perfect time to do what we're essentially calling a 30-day challenge, where we take a specific app, device, or platform, something, give it 30 days, see if we can live with it, and then check back in in a month, and kind of give our feelings. That sound about right, guys?
No, we're gonna be taking something that we're gonna really all decide that we're gonna do together, and we're gonna all have our own different perspectives on how good or bad it is based on what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, and that's kind of the point.
Right. We're totally trying out.
Want to do a real world test, not
opinions,
cram it into 3 days in time for the show.
From our
and,
kids, our parents,
right.
Our family members, or people who visit and say, "What in the world? You can't watch the game? I can't watch. I need to watch the game. What do you got this silly box here for?" No.
Well, and the goal is not to disrupt
your
daily. I mean, you can if you want. If you want to go all in and only use this one thing, you can. But
it's probably not good.
Just so the options this time, were between Sling and PlayStation View. It seemed like the obvious choices. So what were you guys' opinions? Where should we go with this?
Well, we have PlayStation View and we have Sling. I think more people know about Sling. I think of the people who have actually played with it. I think there's fewer people who've actually tried PlayStation View. So I was leaning. We were already looking at it, and that. So I was when our previous discussion was saying we should probably try PlayStation View. So I don't know what you guys.
I'm all for the View. I think the same thing Matt said, that it seems like there's a lot less people that have experience with it, and see how it works, especially now that it's expanded beyond just PlayStation, which they really need to change the name, because that's going to confuse the heck out of people.
Yeah, and I'm interested in both, so either is okay with me. We can do the PlayStation View first, and then later try Sling TV.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys in the fact that, I've tried Sling for a couple days. I didn't even make it through the 7-day trial. But so at this point, a little hard to kind of go in with a fresh look, but I have had zero desire to try PlayStation View just based on the price, so I think it'd be a good choice. We'll get that set up, do the PlayStation View for the next month, and then next episode we can kind of check in and see where people currently are, in their feelings. But at this point, do you guys have any predictions? How do you think, with the limited information that you have about PlayStation View, what do you think your experience is going to be like?
I predict I'm either going to absolutely love it or absolutely hate it, and it will be all predicated on its ability to provide me access to the Boise State football games. I know some of them are on ESPN2, which it is supposed to have. I checked into possibly getting ESPN3 through the service, and if I can do that, then I will probably be pretty happy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about performance for me, right? If it performs well, and I think it has a lot of the channels that I watch normally, me and my wife do, and and if it performs well, gives a good high quality, high definition show, then I could see myself, using it beyond the 30-day challenge.
No, see, for me, it's not about quality of the show. It's not about whether or not I can watch certain games. It's whether or not my wife likes it. So it doesn't. I mean, I can handle practically anything. I could watch it on old, real to watch my shows on that. I'd be fine. But it's how hard it is to use. It's how easy it is to find your shows. It's how easy to browse. All those things. Those are all the things where, hey, let's see what's on TV. Oh, can't do it with that thing. Ugh. If that's the case, we're not going to be keeping it up for certain.
Yeah, and like
we'll see.
And then for myself, like Michael said, I think it's going to come down to I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. At this point, the price point is a bit of a turnoff for me because, I get my internet through Comcast. I could get all of this, and more if I would let them put a cable box in my house, but,
well, you don't always save money with cord cutting. I'll always save money.
I save a bit. I save a bit, but
yeah.
But then I put it all into my internet. But
Right.
No. So one thing I think should be worth mentioning is there are 3 price tiers. I don't think we all need to go with the same price tier. I'd say it's probably best to look at them, decide which one fits you or fits us each best, and then just roll with it. Get the best experience possible. Agree?
Agreed.
All right.
We've already been discussing our prices, which price we want, so we might be going for the cheapest package just because it fills our needs.
Well, and you might want to discuss the price with your wife first.
Exactly. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be getting this. Which one should we get?
Alrighty. Well, with that settled, we'll check back in 2 weeks, give you guys an update on kind of where we're at with PlayStation View. And until then, let's move on to the deep dive. Alrighty. So, this week, as we mentioned at the top of the show, we will be discussing the Fire TV. So, out of all of us, how many are really familiar with the Fire TV? Anybody?
Not
Beside me?
actually. I've actually not.
Yeah.
I've only played with one in the store, and that's
Yeah.
about it. So,
Well, that's probably telling in itself.
yeah.
Played with it, but decided not to take it home. Well, so right on the top, for anybody that's not aware of what the Amazon Prime is, it's Amazon's foray into the streaming world. They figured, hey, everybody else, they've got their own platform. Let's do our own. Walled garden, where if you're an Amazon subscriber, you get everything from Amazon, get your content, maybe it's a no-brainer, I guess. But for someone that's not necessarily living in that ecosystem like me, it's a little bit of a harder sell.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that lives in that kind of ecosystem. I pretty much buy all my content, all my products, just about everything I can from Amazon, because I'm a Prime member. I like their video service, and I just like the convenience of being able to order everything to my door. So I use Amazon a ton. I get most of my videos there. It's convenient. Plus, they have support for Disney Movies Anywhere, which allows me to register my Disney movies and then view them through Amazon service. So that puts all of my Disney movies for all my kids and stuff in one place as well. So all the movies and TV shows that I've purchased as digital content's there, music, it's all there. So as you said, it's kind of a no-brainer, yet I still only bought it 24 hours ago. Well, bought it a couple days ago, got it 24 hours ago so that I could try it out a little bit more heavily with this experience and see what I thought about it. So
Yeah. See, and this is one that in my eternal quest to find the right platform, I tried it out after I kind of got a little bummed out by Android TV, and while it was better as far as app availability, I did not like the way they have their user interface. Because whereas we mentioned in the last episode, or Matt mentioned that the Roku was kind of bland or boring. Sorry, that was the right word. Just your
It's the same
boring
thing.
grid of apps.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I think that's the one place where I think that the Fire TV suffers, because rather than having a grid of apps, it's basically all of your Amazon content in one place with apps mixed in. So you'll have a movie, a album, and Netflix all in
Right.
the same, and then it's kind of, it was one of the biggest things that drove me crazy was just finding stuff, because unless you just use this app, like let's say HBO Go, if you just used it recently, it might be at the top of the list and you can easily get it, but if you haven't, then you got to go searching for it. I had a good screenshot, but I don't know what I did with it. But the rather than just having the grid like let's say Roku or Android TV, Apple TV does it too, where they put it into the categories, but in order to navigate through the categories, you've got the categories listed on the left-hand side, where it's not even really that easy to see, and it's kind of confusing to me. I and I'll go ahead and say that I don't own one. I've not really played with. I've kind of like Matt. I've played with one at a retail store a little bit, but doing this show, knowing we was going to talk about the Fire TV, I did a lot of research. I watched several reviews online, read some reviews and all. And I kind of made a things that I thought were good about it and things that I thought are bad about it. And things that were good about it, the performance seemed to be very good on the Fire TV. The remotes and the design of the remote and the box seemed to be really good. Had a decent game selection too for the platform, which I thought was pretty good. They have a smartphone app for the platform as well. Mhm.
It works with Alexa, which I thought was a good point. You could, if you wanted to know what the weather was or what the weather forecast was, you could just, speak into the remote or speak into the smartphone app as well. The price point is pretty good, I think. I think for the box itself, it's like $85, which is not bad for a full-fledged streaming device. And then it has most of the, or has, I think, pretty much all of the major streaming services, right? So those were the good notes that I made about it. Now for some of the bad. This kind of plays into what Clyde was saying, that all the reviewers, and I kind of had the same opinion, the UI seems to be a bit cluttered, right? Which I think is what Clyde was saying.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah, and some reviewers were saying they were unable to stream 4K content. They said they had the right setting, had the right connections, but just the it's supposed to be a 4K movie on Amazon Prime, and tried to play it. It would just play it in 1080p, not 4K. Another thing too, it doesn't seem to have a native YouTube app. I think it does have an app out there that uses web APIs.
It uses their Silk browser.
Right, right. So you got a kind of using web APIs as opposed to a native YouTube app.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bad thing, I would say. And also too, it only comes with 8 gig of internal storage. Right. It does have a slot for a micro SD, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say the
but-
box is expandable. The stick is not.
Right. So and both of those come with only 8 gig of internal storage. So if you was going to buy it for playing some games or or something like that, I would say 8 gig. Nowadays 8 gigs not really a lot. I would think it would need a little bit more. But then again, you're getting it for $85.
I mean, for the average user, 8 gigs probably going to be good because you're not really storing too much content. I mean, in the past, you would want a lot more space, but that's because you were you were copying the movies or you were downloading the movies to play them. Not compressed and streamed like now. Someone that if they play a lot of games, yeah, it's possible to use up that space, and then but I don't think the game selection is really completely there to the point where that 8 gig built in is really going to cause an issue.
Yeah, I mean, with the game selection, I think is good as video streaming devices go, right? I mean, neither one of these devices are going to replace your Xbox, right? But
Android TV, that thing plays. Oh, I spent so many hours playing Asphalt 8. It looked amazing. Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there to another. But you mentioned the addition of Alexa. On the last episode, I had talked about I had gotten the Fire Stick last year, and I tried it for a while, and I had some problems. It was a little slow. I didn't really like it, but it didn't have the voice search, and they hadn't integrated Alexa yet. So I went out this week, and I picked up the new one that I can play with. Didn't get it a whole deep testing before the show, but we'll at some point we'll come back and revisit the actual hardware. But I will say, I mean, Alexa doesn't seem to want to listen to me.
Alexa,
I
which I'm sure we're setting off all kinds of
she and my ex-wife have something in common, but but the function, like on the Roku or some of the other ones, the button, you just push it and then you talk. This one felt a little clunky in the fact that I have to hold it until it beeps, which that's probably a good thing, because like I mentioned on the Roku episode, the voice search comes up every once in a while because I bump the button. You hit it once, voice search comes up. It takes over your screen. At least this doesn't do that. If you just push the button, nothing happens until you hold it and wait for the bump or wait for the beep. That's something that if you actually use it, it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's probably not going to be an issue. And then, Michael, you said you tested some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I used the voice search and I had no trouble with it at all. I have an Amazon Echo, and so I use Alexa for a lot of stuff there, and I felt like it worked.
Okay.
Maybe not quite as effectively as the Amazon Echo does, but pretty close. I mean, it responded to my questions. For example, I agree with you. The interface is difficult, and so I was having a hard time finding the PlayStation View app because we talked about doing that, and I wanted to make sure there was an app and that I could find it. I just said open PlayStation View, and boom, it opened it up, and it provided the option to install it and everything.
Yeah.
And so that was really a great way to find things. I totally agree about the interface as a whole. And in fact, I feel like what they've done is they've taken their standard Amazon Prime interface, which I have like on my smart TV, for example, and they've basically copied that over exactly and then added extra stuff into it.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you got what is designed to help you navigate just their content, and now they've added a whole bunch of extra stuff into that same interface, which makes it really difficult to find things. I completely agree with that. However, it was also really easy for me to find things like all of my Star Wars movies for my daughter. Our Disney shows were readily available. So those key things that are most important for my wife and kids to be able to get at really easily were readily available. Plus, adding in the voice search, my daughter can sit there, she can push the button, and it doesn't, you do have to wait for a second, but it's not really a long time. It's pretty quick. You watch and you can see your voice registering on the screen, and so it's fairly intuitive that way. She can talk into it and ask it, play Star Wars A New Hope, and then it's going to start the movie for her.
Yeah, I could tell you guys why. I can't tell you guys anything about it because I haven't actually tried it very much, except for just a couple pushing of the buttons on sort of, okay, that looks interesting, put it back down, and didn't even really play with it very much. But I can tell you why I haven't picked one out, and that's because it's a siloed ecosystem.
Yep.
It is Amazon. And basically they said, we're seeing all these other streaming boxes out there. We're going to try to make everybody want our box. So we're going to do what Apple does. We're going to make it so it works on our system, and we're going to make sure that we're not going to sell any Chromecasts or any Apple TVs anymore because we don't want to work with them, and we're going to have the back end of Amazon. Thanks, guys. And we're just going to be kind of jerks about it. Also, I've got one other problem. I live in Washington State, which means I have to pay sales tax for stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good reason. That's the whole reason most people order from Amazon.
We do have Amazon Prime, and we do use it. So,
Yeah, that was my sad thing about moving to Texas. All of our purchases went up by about 8 to 9% because our tax is like 8.6% here, and they have a large distribution center here in Texas, so we pay sales tax on our Amazon stuff here as well, whereas in Idaho, where I lived before, no sales tax. So it was like a 9% increase in all of my Amazon purchases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. I apparently missed that point in time when everybody went, ooh, Amazon, and jumped on the bus. I was apparently like still napping or something.
You're still stuck on Android.
I never really came around to that. So I don't have the content. A device like this, I see the potential because it's essentially built on Android TV. They just customized Android to, fit what they want. But since I don't live in that ecosystem, I don't have the content for it to, automatically populate and shove at me. At this point, I can get everything I get from this, I can get from the Prime app on my Roku.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I've got a cleaner interface and all the tools. I will give them credit, though, two things. One of the main reasons I left the Fire TV and gave the Roku a shot was because there were several apps that still didn't work. HBO Go being one of them. Even though they had added it, you could authenticate. You could only authenticate with certain providers, and Comcast was not one of them. So once again, because Comcast requires the put the code in that's on the screen into the website, right? Whereas the old version on the Fire TV stick required you to log in on your TV, and Comcast didn't support that. So for that reason, even though they got HBO Go added, you still couldn't use it. if you were like 90% of the people that are Comcast across the country. But the other thing that actually is a really good idea was, so this is a regular stick, about the same size as Roku, pretty standard. Most of these come with, or you have to buy that extender cable that's short so that, if you don't have room to plug it into the side of the TV. This one came with a double female, which it doesn't seem like much, but when I brought it home, I took it out of the box and went, I gotta get to the side of my TV, and I know there isn't a USB port that I could plug into. But then I opened up the box and went, oh,
solves that problem.
Yeah, just plug that right in, pulled the HDMI cable out of my Roku, plugged it right in, good to go. So, if this is more powerful than the one that I was using, it might replace my kid's Roku stick in my suitcase for when I travel. But I'm looking forward for doing some more testing, because I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really get to go too in depth. It seems a little bit cleaner than it used to be, but it's still pretty much the same platform it was about a year ago. And one thing we should probably look at real quick is that right now we won't go too far into the specs. We can leave that for when we actually talk about specific hardware. But so the current generation, you've got your stick at $39.99.
We're getting some feedback from Michael.
Is that you, Matt?
This?
Michael, I think we're having feedback through your speech.
Oh.
Is this what you're getting?
No, I think it's coming from Clyde.
That's weird.
The one that's echoing.
I just muted. Did that fix it?
Yes.
Ah,
All right.
Yes.
That being
okay,
said,
that was the guy.
oh no.
Okay.
Visual indicator, it's Michael's giving us feedback.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't change anything.
Oh, Joyce. What is Skype like a curse word in a different language or something?
Well, I guess maybe Skype's trying to tell us to hurry up and end this thing. No, I just wanted to run through. Right now, there's the three current versions. You've got your stick, which is portable, little thing, remote. Can't go wrong. $39.99. You've got the box version, which is $84.99, or you can get the gaming edition for $124. It comes with a controller. It's essentially no different than the regular box. It's just got a game controller. And honestly, if it were me, I'd say get the regular box and buy the game controller separate. Because if you get I believe if you get the gaming version, you don't get the remote. And that remote, if I remember right, is a lot like my Android TV remote, which used Bluetooth, which means it constantly times out. And when you need to, when you need to pause real quick, you can't, because you got to wake it up and then pause it. But anybody else got anything to add before we move on?
The only thing I have to add is that the Fire TV does seem like at first like it's a really good option. I think it's a little deceiving. I mean, great, I got Amazon, I can watch YouTube, I got Netflix on this, it does Hulu, it does all these cool things. it's not that it's doing that is the bad idea. It's the whole other side of that coin where they're not playing nice with other people necessarily. So I hate to harp on them because of that, but it's
yeah.
bad. Do better. You guys could do better.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy with it. I definitely the like having the quick, easy access to the Amazon marketplace, which again, that's kind of where I live. The other thing that I really liked about it was the voice search. So those are two things that are really good. Unfortunately, I can't compare it to the voice search with the Roku because I had the Roku stick and it didn't have the voice search. So that's unfortunate that I can't make that direct comparison, but definitely like what I'm seeing without the voice search. Though that user interface is a nightmare. It's way too complicated, way too cluttered, and inefficient. Great interface if all you're dealing with is just the Amazon stuff. As another little side note, for the first 24 hours I owned it, Netflix did not work. Which is, talking about Matt talking about siloing, right? There were like all kinds of visual artifacts in Netflix, and like I would open, it was crazy. I'd open my profile and I'd see another profile on half of the screen. So like my daughter's cartoons would fill half of the screen and my profile would show the other half. Crazy stuff. Restarted it today, and after an update that went away. So I don't know if that was just kind of like some sort of needed updating, a little glitch or whatever, but hopefully I won't continue to have that kind of an issue. I'm really hoping that this is going to work out well for my daughters to go in their playroom as the streaming device in there, because right now they're just using PlayStation 3, which isn't great, and it's kind of difficult for them to use. They have to use the controller and stuff, so this would be an improvement for that room.
So where would you rate this?
If you are an Amazon user and you kind of live in that ecosphere, I would say this is probably a thumbs up. Not one, not two, but if you don't live in the Amazon ecosphere, I would probably give it a thumbs down.
Okay. What about you, Jimmy? Final thoughts?
Yeah,
Rating?
I think Mike nailed it, right? I think if all your content is through Amazon, you've bought all your all your movies and online content through them, and it makes sense to get a Fire TV, right? Especially if you are like Mike and have like an Amazon Echo and that with the Echo, the Alexa integration with the device. But yeah, I would agree. If you don't buy your content from Amazon, then yeah, I too would give it a thumbs down and just say go with the Roku.
All right. And then
I guess I'm the curmudgeon here. I'm going to give it a straight thumbs down just because they're not playing nice. Sorry, they're just not being nice with others, and all the other issues, of course, said by Jimmy and Michael. But no. This is not the thing for me. It's not going to be the thing for. We'll see. Maybe it gets better in the future, but right now, how at current state, no.
all right. Well, I mean that's perfectly legitimate. Back to a few of the points that I had made previously is the fact that I can see the appeal for someone that's invested in the Amazon ecosystem. I'm not that person. The potential is there. If they could do a little bit of organization, clean up some of the clutter, I think this could be an absolutely great platform. Mm-hmm. The price is there. It's a valid option. It's not for everybody. For that reason, I will give it, thumb sideways. it's not great in my book, but it's not horrible. It's just kind of, eh. Um, like I said, I can see the value for an Amazon person, but for someone like my parents, they'd be lost.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You know what? I think we should probably just end this here. I want to thank everybody that stuck around through the show, joined us in the chat. Then, we are still figuring things out. So, you got any tips, any suggestions, thoughts? You want to, is there something you want us to specifically cover? Let us know. Reach out to us at the VOD Squad on Twitter or the VOD Squad at gmail.com. We'll be back again, 9 p.m. Central in 2 weeks. And we will check back in on our 30-day challenge with PlayStation View. So, everybody, good night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
See ya. We'll close.
All right.
All right.